How can I avoid risk when buying a business? Isn't that a lot of money and a lot of risk? I'm Jeramiah Townsend, the business broker advisor. In today's video, I'm sharing with you how to avoid risk when buying a company. Before we get into that, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what you think about the video so I can create better content for you. So on to the topic, how can you avoid risk when buying a company? I'm going to be honest, any investment you make always carries some element of risk. Every single investment, even leaving your money in the bank, you have the risk of you might not have invested in something else that generates a larger return. So no matter what you do, there's risk. You can take that money, put it under your mattress in your bedroom, and guess what? There's risk. Your house will burn down. Nobody likes to think about that, but there's always risk. So you want to carefully manage your risk. Some people are comfortable with a higher level of risk, some people with a lower level of risk. It's always good to hire an advisor such as myself to help you better understand the true risk and not just be motivated by fear. So on to the point. First thing you can do is carefully review the terms of any purchase agreement. Before agreeing to a purchase, you have to make sure to understand the terms of the agreement. I've seen contracts where a buyer agrees to purchase a business. However, they agree to very bad terms, like they're making payments for 10 plus years on a business that they could have made in a 3-year time period. So you have to make sure you really understand what you're agreeing to. And oftentimes, again, hire an advisor to help you out through this process, even just to give their opinion reviewing contracts, hire a lawyer or somebody who really knows what they're talking about. Number 3, make sure to limit your risk. Make sure to conduct thorough due diligence on a company. It involves reviewing the financials, reviewing the operations, making sure that the management team is in place. If the company has a management team and it's not just an owner-operator, to make sure that your process is in place. These things are very important to understanding, have you done correct due diligence? Is the company have a good tax standing, or is there a large tax liability against the company? In certain states, that tax liability will follow the purchase even in an asset sale. So you have to make sure you're doing thorough due diligence on the company. The third thing that you can do to avoid risk is make sure you understand the seller's motivations. I've shared in other videos that sometimes a seller will sell a business for positive reasons, but sometimes he sees something negative on the wall. So some negative writing on the wall that maybe the industry is going to experience some hardships, and he just doesn't want to do this. A classic example is the print industry. Starting in the 90s and 2000s, everything started becoming digital, and it started moving away from offset printing to digital printing. And there were several people in the print industry who they had been printers their whole life, and they just never quite got onto digital printing. And so they still sell business cards for 500 business cards for $80 or $100 or $150 for 500 business cards. When you can buy 500 business cards, a lot of places today, they're printed digitally, and you can buy those for anywhere from $20 to $30, $40, $50 for something in that price range. So you have to make sure you understand the real motivation of the seller. Understanding their motivation will make sure that you are successful. The next way to avoid risk is to seek professional advice. I can't stress this enough. If you get sick, you go to a doctor. Why do you go to a doctor? He's a pro. This is all he does. If you're looking at buying a business, you should really seek the advice of a professional. And for many companies, I recommend having a team of advisors. I recommend that to most of my business buyers. You might want to have a business broker. You might want to have a good relationship with a lawyer, a business-specific lawyer, and a CPA. You don't always need to have these relationships. You don't always have to be best buds with these people, but you should have some of these. You might even have an industry expert who can advise you on that specific company. So having these professional advice and input makes a lot of sense. Now, it does cost money to hire them. So you got to be a little bit realistic. You might not be able to afford to spend a couple thousand, anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 on each one of them to analyze every single deal. So you're going to know when to bring them in and what you're going to be paying for and what you need to hire them for. For example, a CPA does not necessarily need to do an in-depth, heavy-duty financial audit on a company if you're buying a $10,000 company. The CPA doesn't have to do a $10,000 audit on a company that's going to cost you $10,000. That's just common sense. And we all know common sense isn't common, but you have to make sure to seek professional advice, especially when it's important. That's how you're going to avoid risk. The fifth thing that I want you to consider to avoid risk is always consider a phased earn out. Now, if you're using an SBA loan, the SBA does not approve of earnouts, but I'm a firm believer in earnouts. An earnout says that the seller, part of his payment from selling you the company, some of his money is going to come based on the future performance of the business. And I think this is probably one of the most honest ways of selling and buying a company, is coming in with some sort of down payment of good faith, and then the seller taking a payment somehow on the back end of some kind. Now, not everybody's going to do that, and I'm not begrudging a seller for wanting all the money up front. Statistically, sellers who want all the money up front will make significantly less. But having a phased earnout means they will earn some of that money on the business sale based on the performance of the business. So if the performance goes up, their earnings will go up. And this can be for 1 year, maybe 3 years, sometimes even 5 years. Generally, it's a 1 to 3 year earnout if you have a significant down payment. If you don't have very much of an earnout, if you don't have very much of a down payment, that earnout might go for a few more years, 5 years, maybe even 7 years. But I regularly see anywhere from a 1 to 5 year earnout being requested in any business sale. I'm Jeramiah Townsend. These are 5 ways that you can limit your risk when you're buying a company. As always, please like and share my videos. Share with me in the comments on things that you want to hear about. I'll try to put a video together for you on those things. I appreciate you. Happy investing, and I'll talk to you soon.